the PNP set to have a new candidate. Well, not even candidate. They have a caretaker. They're going to install a caretaker in Southern Trelawny, trying to take that seat from the Jamaica Labour Party. Marissa Dalrymple Philibert won the election for the JLP the last time, September 2020. She's out of the picture, though. She has left representational politics. There is no member of parliament active there right now, and the PNP are lining themselves up by the time we get ready for the next general election to field the candidate they believe can bring the seat home for them, and they've turned to funeral home operator and businessman Paul Patmore, who famously won the Lormers division as an independent candidate in two local government elections ago, and he has been away from the political scene for some time, but he says that he's ready to re-engage with the public. We have him on this morning. Mr. Patmore, good morning.
Good morning, nationwide. Good morning, listeners.
Thank you so much.
I greet you well from Southern Trelawny.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. You have taken up the decision or accepted the invite from the PNP to run as their candidate. You're now the caretaker of South Trelawny. Why did you accept the invitation?
Yes, it's not merely that I accepted the invitation. I was the one who reached out.
Oh.
Yes, I was the one who think that I was ready and reach out. South Trelawny was where I was born, where I lived for many years. That's where I do all my businesses. So I think that South Trelawny deserves representation. For the past, I would say, around 27 years, all we had in South Trelawny is politicians. I think they deserve a representative, and that's what I set out myself to offer.
And you're in a seat, Mr. Patmore, you're in a seat that the JLP has been winning for some time. The news says they're putting up Devon McDaniel as their caretaker, their candidate.
Yes.
Do you consider yourself to be a better contender in a seat that the JLP has been winning?
Yes, when you look on the track record of the JLP, yes, for the past 27 years, there's no form of development that I'm part in South Trelawny. No form whatsoever. When it comes to water, if you look at water, when Devon McDaniel take over some 20 odd years ago, in the Larimer's division we have running water in pipe. 27 years later, we don't even have a dam there. So, there's no form of development. The JLP cannot point on something and say, yes, we did that in South Trelawny. I was given the opportunity in 2012 to 2016 to run as a councillor. And Paul Patmore, without a doubt, is the only person right now that can show you something she have done in South Trelawny. I have a water project, I have roads. The only person that can stand up and point, not even the member of parliament, the former member of parliament that have left done 4 terms. All they have shown us is that they are good at distribution of these benefits and spoils.
Mr. Patmore, when you won as the independent candidate in Lormers, I referred to it earlier.
Yes.
There were certain circumstances surrounding those elections. You fell out with your friends and colleagues in the JLP. You stood as an independent. There wasn't enough time between you deciding to make the switch, but you, to the surprise of everybody, well, except yourself and your team, I'm sure, managed to pull out the victory. This time, there's a long run between now and the point of a nomination day for the general election and for you to be firmly in place officially as a PNP candidate. The point I'm making is the JLP will have time to now plan for your candidacy to counter that. Do you think that will cause you to not make it this time?
No, the time will only allow me to become stronger. Remember now, the JLP won all 4 divisions in South Trelawny. So I'm the one that need time. So time will be better for me. If the election was called maybe 2 weeks ago, you could say it might be a walk away for the JLP. As time lingers,
yes,
it's getting stronger for the PNP day by day.
The show of force and the show of support for Mama D, as they call Mrs. Dalrymple Philibert down in South Trelawny, you know this, was very strong on nomination day for the local elections and even on election day as she moved through to help the candidates running. The Dalrymple Philibert factor, can you overcome that even though it's unlikely her name will be on the ballot next election?
One thing that I'm sure of is that only 29 of every 100 persons come out and vote.
Mm-hmm.
Those 70 persons, that's my target market. I'll be going for that those 70 persons. That 70% of persons that did not choose to vote, that's my target market. Paul Patmore is a person that was always apart from, I was born from maybe around 9 or 10. I was on every youth club, church group, community clubs, football clubs, just have everything that you can think of.
Yes.
I'm a justice of the peace in the era. I operate a funeral home. I've never gone anywhere else that I've while from Trelawny. I have one phone number.
You fell out with the JLP in 2012, Paul Patmore, and you could have, I'm sure, applied to the party to say, well, Mrs. Dalrymple Philibert is gone. I am willing to take up the mantle and try to deliver the seat for the party. But you chose the PNP. Why?
I was given the privilege to work with both parties as a councillor because I was an independent. I stayed as an independent. I watched how they work. I watched everything that they do. I was able to work closely with the mayor at the time, Mr. Mayor Garth Wilkinson. And I also work with Mayor Gager as the deputy mayor at the time. So I analyze and I know that the PNP for me is a better team right now.
A final one from me, Mr. Patmore. You just mentioned again that you ran as an independent there in Lormas. Do you think this extends across the entire South Trelawny and this could be a factor in you getting the win over the JLP's candidate when the time comes? Getting support from both sides.
Yes. Persons are saying, Mr. Patmore, you know that you're going to get more JLP votes than PNP votes. And I can tell you that I don't really doubt them. I don't doubt them. This is the first time in the past, maybe the past 50 years, that the JLP is on the back foot. When Miss Dalrymple resigned, there was a whole lot of persons who wanted to run the seat. Now they have to just choose Devon McDaniel. He wasn't a person that he never wanted to run. That's the difference between me and him. I wanted to run. I prepared to run. He was asked because nobody else wanted it. Because with Paul Patmore in the race now, it's not a safe seat anymore. And as you know, most persons come into politics because they just want a safe seat. They just want to.
So you scared away the competition. You scared away the competition is what you're saying.
Yes, most definitely.
And McDaniel is the brave man to challenge you.
Yes, and I think I'm not sure if, to be honest, I don't think the JLP will use him because I know that they're gonna try their best to make it hard enough for Paul Patmore. So I don't think they will make it that easy for me.
Hear you on that. All the best, Paul. We'll be watching you closely. All the best in South Trelawny.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Paul Patmore there, the man being lined up by the PNP to go on the nomination paper by the time the general election comes around, whenever that is.